Alrighty, well, we are going to move straight on to our first award of the evening. The first award of the evening is the Medical Visionary Award, which goes to a man who has truly changed the lives of so many. He has combined Eastern and Western medicine to transform the way we approach cancer treatment. This is Dr. Richard Lee.
My dad was a kind of country doctor. He was trained as a surgeon, but really practiced in a small farming town in Illinois. He practiced the old-fashioned way where he would make house visits. It was just a major influence on my thinking about the importance of a physician who plays within a community. Another major influence was my family's heritage in Taiwan. We would make trips every few years in the summer. I would smell these Chinese herbs being stewed in the house. And so as I got older and I got to know more about my culture and my parents' background in Taiwan and my family, those were seeds that were planted early on in my childhood about the value of Eastern medicine. When I told my father I was thinking about going into integrative medicine and going on this Fulbright to learn traditional Chinese medicine, he actually, frankly, was a little bit surprised. This was a crazy idea to go abroad and learn another field of medicine. At the time, it was a little bit viewed skeptically. I'd say a lot of people were wondering what I was doing, but I think I had some inner sense that going to traditional paths didn't always lead to new discoveries and innovation. And if you went where everyone else went, you just get the same results. If you wanted different results, you kind of had to go off the beaten path. I thought I was just going to go back and I would be an oncologist, but my time abroad changed me in a way I hadn't expected, in a very profound way. It really shifted my career trajectory and what I wanted to do after I returned. Traditional Chinese medicine, Eastern medicine, for me was maybe there are other things that we could be doing to help patients that didn't require another prescription. It didn't require being in a hospital. In medicine, we don't always have all the answers despite all of the great technology and research that's being done. In many ways, modern medicine was so focused on the disease, oftentimes it had forgotten about the patient. By doing the research and bringing high quality science to the field, we can demonstrate how the two can work harmoniously and actually create a synergy. The two bring important aspects to the care of patients that neither could do alone. And that's one of our key pillars within the new Cherng Family Center for Integrative Oncology at City of Hope. It really brings us back to the roots of medicine, which is really about the patient-practitioner relationship and really holding that special.
Here to introduce our first honoree of the evening is himself a respected leader in the medical field. He has been recognized as one of the top cancer leaders in the nation by Friends of Cancer Research. Please help me welcome Dr. Edward Kim.
Well, I guess I get to start this evening off tonight with everybody. So good evening. I'm Ed Kim. I currently serve as the Vice Physician-in-Chief at City of Hope and the Physician-in-Chief of City of Hope, Orange County. That's the new center that you've seen some of the background on that nice video. And it's really an honor for me to be up here to introduce Dr. Richard Lee, who is a friend, colleague, and obviously a top-flight researcher, as you've seen. Now, based on the video, I don't know how many of you also grew up in a household where, in mine, we had my parents cooking ginseng on the stove in a pot that smelled up the whole house, or kimchi. And so we always wondered if there would be therapeutic advances with any of these aspects. And that's what he's going to talk about tonight. Now, before I talk about him, there's a little history that we need to realize. There was another great Asian researcher, and there are many of them in cancer, but this one, again, you have to show a tenacity. You have to show that grit to continue to fight despite those who don't really believe in you. And this is Yamaguchi Katsusaburo, was a pathologist. And in 1895, he proved that coal tar could cause cancer. Now, he was nominated 7 times for the Nobel Prize. He didn't win. Maybe that 8th time he would have won, but clearly he deserved this recognition. And that was a good 4 decades before we realized that there was an association with environmental issues like tobacco with lung cancer here in the Western societies. So we have to get through these barriers. And that's what Dr. Lee has been trying to do. He's been trying to convince people that herbs and other naturopathic techniques and other aspects can actually help heal people, even cure the body of cancer. It's this belief, this hope that he continues with. You know, when I was tasked with moving to California and building the new campus for City of Hope in Orange County, he was the first person I recruited. And I recruited him, I recruited his lovely wife, Anna, who's here with him tonight, his 2 kids, twins, Elsa and Bella, and he's had a new baby, actually just 2 months ago. You would never know that. They introduced Andrea just a few months ago. But he was here to fight that battle, to bring integrative oncology, not just to Southern California, but also to the country. And at City of Hope, we are a national organization, and that's what we intend to do. So despite all the doubts, despite people saying you can't do it, we were very honored last year to receive a $100 million donation from Andrew and Peggy Cherng, philanthropists, co-founders, and co-CEOs of Panda Express. And they have created the Cherng Family Center for Integrative Oncology at City of Hope, of which Dr. Lee is the leader of. This program is the first of its kind in the country. It doesn't exist anywhere else. And we intend to make it a national and international program to help fight cancer, to help people battle cancer, cure them, help them survive. So his job, and it's a bigger pressure job now, after you can see, is to really accelerate the research, accelerate the care, build the team, educate people to make sure that all physicians, family doctors, GYNs, surgeons, and oncologists know that we have safe, proven ways to fight this. And through his research, he is promoting this healing, and in some cases, we're even preventing and curing cancers. We just have to approach this with an open mind, just like science. So we really need to help propagate this idea. We have to educate people out there. We have to make sure we know which therapies are safe and effective, and this will lead to an enormous impact, especially forging this bond between the best of Eastern medicine and the best of Western medicine. And that's what we will do for generations. So we need this out-of-the-box thinking, and that's exactly what he brings to the table if we're gonna beat cancer together. You know, I could go on, and I feel like I want to use a baseball analogy tonight because we've got an honoree here as well. You know, people say, well, you know, singles, walks, they don't lead to anything. You want a home run. Well, you actually want a grand slam. You've got to get the base runners on, and then you get the home run. And that is what Dr. Lee is going to do with integrative oncology. We're going to get the singles, the walks, and then we're going to hit the home run so they can make the maximal impact. So I could go on, but I won't. It's an honor for me to introduce him. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, my colleague, my first recruit to the new campus, and a great scientist, please join me in introducing Dr. Richard Lee.
Good evening. Thank you for all of you for being here and to the Asia Society. And I want to thank Dr. Kim for his really generous and kind words. It's so humbling. It's just a deep honor to be here, to be recognized by Asia Society and be among those who are celebrating our Asian heritage. To be honest, never in a million years did I think I would be here to receive such a prestigious award. There's a little bit of irony in my past, and it's not even on the video, so I'm going to share that and connecting some dots for you. As you heard, I grew up in a very small farming town, middle of Illinois. I'm surrounded by cornfields. Literally, I grew 100 yards from a cornfield, and all my friends were farmers. And my family made a conscious effort to really blend in. And we really didn't, we tried not to be Asian in many ways. I tried to be as American as possible and never brought attention to my Asian culture. And so in my childhood, one event really kind of stays with me even today. And so I remember on a sunny day, I was in my driveway, and my good friend Jason, he was riding his bike. We had these bikes with banana seats and such back then. And he brought his friend Dustin with him. He said, "Hey, Dustin just moved into town, wanted you to meet him." And so I started to meet Dustin, and he realized I was Asian. And he made a comment about my eyes. And at first I was like, what is he saying? I was kind of taken aback because it never had happened to me. And then my friend says to him, we don't make fun of him. His dad is our doctor. He's our town doctor. He takes care of a lot of us, so we don't do that. So, Dustin quietly looked down, never happened again. And, but it struck with me because, one, that was kind of my first experience, experiencing some Asian racism, really. But also, it taught me that the significant role of a physician in a community. That role really had a deep meaning and transcended race. And so I can still remember that day and still remember that driveway. And so as time kind of went along, I slowly realized that my family was a little bit different. My grandmother was doing these herbs because she came to live with us later on. And when I went to visit other people's houses, my friends' houses, no one's house smelled like that. No one else had these Chinese herbs, aroma. And my father had this acupuncture doll, which actually sits in my office today. And he had these acupuncture needles. And I was fascinated by this idea that acupuncture could heal the body. But oddly, he never used acupuncture in his practice. It was there, but he never really incorporated it. And even in high school, I went to this big nerd school, Illinois Math and Science Academy outside of Chicago, and many of my friends celebrated their Asian culture, but I kind of shied away from it. And so I think my parents saw this, and eventually they pushed me to attend this cultural summer camp in Taiwan. Some of you may have heard of it. It's fondly known as the Love Boat. Yeah, so some of you might have actually attended. And so, to be honest, I'm not sure if my parents really wanted me to learn culture or they want me to meet a nice Asian girl to get married. But interestingly, I did fall in love, but it wasn't with a girl. That would happen many years later. But with my Asian culture, my extended family. It really opened these doors. And it planted the seed of me wanting to learn more about who I was and wanting to return back to Taiwan. So let's fast forward, 6, 7 years, and I'm going to tell you a secret that really nobody knows, not even in the video. So I was in my last year of residency at Stanford, and I had a gap year. I had a year in between going on to my next fellowship in cancer at the University of Chicago. And I was like, what am I going to do with this year? And I was like, I really want to go back to Taiwan. But I was like, my family, especially my dad, was not going to let me go to Taiwan for a year to learn about myself and learn about Asian culture. That was not going to happen. So I was like, I need a reason. I got to figure this out. How am I going to legitimize my trip back? I said, I can still apply for this Fulbright scholarship, and I could go back. So I'm going to write a proposal, and this is the secret. I wrote the proposal about learning traditional Chinese medicine so I could bring that and blend it back with modern cancer care. But the truth is, the heart of that proposal was me really wanting to learn about who I was and learning about my Asian culture. That is the truth. So hopefully no one from the Fulbright is here. So fast forward to today. Today at City of Hope with my colleagues, we're establishing this Cherng Center for Integrative Medicine. And that's really rooted in my experience on the Fulbright, where I got to see hand-in-hand Eastern and Western medicine being provided together for patients. And this experience opened my eyes to the power of those practices and the wisdom of taking a dual approach, the synergy that could happen for the patient's benefit. And so now at the Cherng Family Center for Integrative Oncology, we're introducing evidence-based practices into our treatment plans for patients with cancer. It's important and groundbreaking work. It's estimated probably 40 or 50% or more of patients who we see at the cancer center are using integrative therapies. But unfortunately, many patients don't even tell their medical team. They don't tell their physician, the nurses, what they're doing. And at City of Hope, we want to ensure that patients who want to pursue integrative approaches are assisted by their medical professionals. It's not something that we have to hide about. We're researching new avenues and how to incorporate these innovative approaches into practice. And to date, we're one of the few programs in the nation with a formal program researching educating patients and medical professionals, as well as providing these evidence-based integrative therapies together with advanced cancer treatments. Through our research, we're looking at natural products for drug development. It's estimated that over a third of FDA-approved cancer therapies are actually derived from plants, and we believe there's yet more to be discovered from these plants. We're looking at things like mushrooms, mistletoe extract, and everyone's favorite herb, cannabis. While we're introducing modalities such as acupuncture, massage, meditation, yoga to help patients more holistically, we're always looking for more ways to expand these available therapies. As I've said to both patients and to my colleagues, we don't always have to think about a prescription as the first option. Many of these integrative therapies have very few side effects and very profound effects to help patients. While this may sound a little bit strange coming from a top 10 cancer center, it's rooted in one of the most important perceptions of medicine, which is being patient-focused. That is, serving our patients holistically, respecting their individual culture, their physical and emotional needs. So I want to end by saying, thank you to the Cherng family for their really tremendous gift for advancing this important work, to City of Hope, the leadership, my colleagues who are here with me today, for always putting our patients at the center, and to the ASSC Society for everything that you do, bringing cultures together, and this amazing recognition. And finally, to my family. My wife is here, Anna, with me today, who I actually met in Taiwan, actually on an acupuncture training course, so it happened later on. No one else I'd rather walk through this journey together. To my parents for the love and support, as well as my siblings, Walter and Winnie, and thank for everything they have done. We at City of Hope and the Cherng Family Center for Integrative Oncology are making enormous strides in pioneering new avenues of cancer care, and I'm honored to be part of this effort in helping patients with cancer and their families everywhere. And lastly, I did notice there are a few kids in the audience, and so what I want to say to you, if you run into your Dustin one day, remember to be proud of your Asian heritage. Everything from our culture to our eyes are special and beautiful and should be celebrated. Thank you so much.